Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to International PMO Day.
Hey! Poppers and balloons, what more do you want to celebrate?
So
How it should be.
already there's been stuff going on all over social media and things, which is fantastic. Good to see. We've I know people have got things that they're doing this day as well. I've already done one already this morning.
I know. LinkedIn's been a bit busy as well.
It has.
You know that it's really good. The whole world has cottoned on. You know, this is not something that's just in the UK. It's all over the world.
Yes.
Right from first thing this morning through Australia, and we know there's going to be more happening over in the States this afternoon.
Yes, no, absolutely. And if you're not already getting involved, there's the hashtag. Or you can just write International PMO Day. It's just that if you do use the hashtag, if you take a look at the International PMO Day website, there's a gallery on there, and it's kind of collecting, you know, people using that tag. So we'll be able to keep a record, prosperity, and all of that. So International PMO Day, first one. It's going to be the second Tuesday in May each year. And already there's some videos going out about why we've done it, and you know, ways to celebrate and all of that kind of good stuff. So we've got some cake,
lots of
balloons,
poppers
and obviously this session as well. So we've got some stuff lined up for you today, just to get us into the mood. Interestingly, number one way to celebrate International PMO Day is actually being with cake. We've also had we've got cake, so you know, there's already some pictures. I've got some pictures people have put in stuff online already.
We've not had 11s. Well, we've left it till lunchtime, haven't we?
Well, yeah.
And afternoon tea.
Yeah. Well, mainly, like I said, I've been doing I've gone into a community of practice day for PMO team and done a session on careers path, PMO careers path. So there's a lot of stuff going on today. I think with kind of like community type events. Already had some pictures posted. There's Alison on the left with her team from Northwest Ambulance Service. I think that picture was taken at the PMO conference in Edinburgh actually last year.
Because they're off.
There's cushions.
They've appeared a few times on LinkedIn this morning.
They have. Everybody likes those cushions. But also there on the right hand side, that's Carol's team at Parliament. She's got them doing a PMO quiz later. Sugar Rush. Those are the prizes there. So I
think they're her sandwiches just underneath. Celebratory sandwiches as well.
Absolutely. So good to see, you know, that people are doing different things. We've had some really lovely messages, like PMO managers talking about their teams and giving their individual team members a shout out, and we've seen some ones where they've posted on their own company social media, you know, telling their company and the company's customers what the PMO does, which is brilliant. And you know, really pleased to see stuff like that, which is exactly what it should have been all about. So today, even though it's, you know, teams, we're going to do a big shout out. You love your poos, don't you?
I do. Poos and pots, those kind of small PMOs where you've got a single individual who's battling to help the organisation every way they can. Usually gets from pillar to post, doing lots of stuff, right from kind of project support right up to portfolio level, and typically everything in between. And we've always hoped, you know, part of the House of PMO is really to help them find their community and their tribe. That's the in phrase, isn't it? So hopefully today you'll feel part of that bigger group, and hopefully you get a chance to celebrate in your organization and demonstrate actually, you know, what you're kind of helping them with is done by lots of other people in lots of other organizations across every industry and every country in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things we're doing this morning, just as an idea, just take 10 minutes out. If you're on your own, working in your PMO on your own, just take 10 minutes out to have a think about your own career. You know, when was the last time you did stuff, a little career plan? You know, it's normally something you do once a year, but why not just get it out? Or if you've not got one, 10 minutes, a little bit of reflection, while you have that cup of tea and that
Stick
cake.
something on LinkedIn.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, we'd like to see that.
I think, you know, the other thing that's quite good as well about putting on LinkedIn is about the overwhelming support you'll get from other people in the PMO. And we, you know, we do kind of say this about kind of just networking, and there's bound to be somebody else who's trying to do what you're doing or who's done what you're doing, and they're more than happily find support. Most people in the PMO that we found are genuinely nice people,
yeah,
who actually kind of are there for the cause and want to help.
Yeah. You can see there that yeah, Alan, hi, hello, you in chat at the moment. Hi, Alan, and there he is on the left, that handsome chap. That Cushions again. Yeah, perhaps a lovely day up in Edinburgh last year for the PMO conference, again coming up in November this time. Yeah, you know, we've even got there that bottom middle, you know, even different types of organisation, giving some shout outs to some PMOs as well. So, you know, people that do offer services and products and stuff for the PMO. PMO people, you know, they're getting into the act as well, which is brilliant to see. And yeah, you know, it's just been, why not? I think I saw something like, oh, what's all this International PMO Day for? What are you doing all that for? And you just think, you know, why not?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, lovely to see stuff coming through.
And it's nice we've just got Stephen there's on for the first time. So great to see you, Stephen. Hopefully the first of many.
Yeah.
And we'll see you a bit more.
So we thought, okay, so this is International PMO Day. We came up with the idea with a group of others who you'll know, you've probably seen on socials, with Laura over in the States, Joe over in the States, Americo, you can see there on the screen, that bottom right picture, Americo from Global Alliance, and Leonardo, who's out in Spain. We basically just came up with the idea last June and just thought, you know, why not do something like this? There's obviously one for project managers, which is in November each year. And it would just think, you know, International PMO Days can be used in lots of different ways by different people. And we just wanted to today, you know, in our live celebration, was just have a little bit of a think about where the PMOs come from, where it's going, and all of that kind of good stuff.
Because I think if we'd done this kind of 5-10 years ago, we would have probably struggled to get the support. It really has, you know, kind of PMO is definitely coming of age and a great place to work now.
Yeah. I think, but you know, from our point of view, we really started back in late 90s, early 2000s, yep. And you know, we basically met a group of people had all been on this training course called PPSO, which is that blue one there. And we set up the guy that did that training basically said, you know, we could do a conference or get people together that are interested in this kind of stuff. And it's just a group of like-minded people that got together, and we started, you know, putting these things together. Carried on doing that for a great number of years. In fact, you know, you can see there the dates there on the top. Kind of took it in different places as well. We started as an independent thing, doing really well, voluntary stuff. And if you imagine, there was very little out there about working in a PMO and where can you go for advice, and you know, where can you find templates, and
it was a big huge thing when we actually changed it from PPSO SIG to PMO SIG.
Yes,
wasn't it, in terms of actually starting to recognize, you know, it used to be project and program support and getting this whole kind of management concept, but also recognizing, you know, it wasn't just projects and programs, you know, the support for portfolio management definitely kind of was part of the PMO role. And we had a great, well, I remember we announced, didn't we, that the PMO SIG was closing, and everybody went, and we said, because it's going to be now called the PMO SIG, and then there was a great cheer. So it was a great day, and it's really kind of the term PMO, as we've said now, is much more of a kind of a collective noun for anybody who works and supports projects, programs, and portfolios in their organizations.
Yeah, I mean, we went over into PMO. The APM got in touch and said, you know, did you want to think about becoming their PMO specialist interest group, of which it still exists today? Yeah, we took it in there, and then a couple of years, I think we kind of got it embedded, and then decided to go off and do something else. That's the politically correct way of
yes. And to be fair, the APM PMO SIG is still there, and still providing events and support from a PMO, an APM perspective. So that's still there and going strong.
Yeah. So we thought, you know, from a celebration of PMOs with a little PMO party hat, we thought it'd be nice if just call out a few people and that have been in and around PMO for a while, and have been around us really in this whole journey, and we want to give a shout out to Chris. Chris is joining us. Hello, Chris. Chris used to be the chairperson, or as was then chairman, of PMO SIG for a number of years, weren't you? Not before you oversaw the whole managing to APM, but you were leading it for Yonks as well, yeah?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we three met actually at that conference in 2003, and I remember the after hours discussion while we all volunteered to get involved in actually running the SIG. The after hours discussion was around why are we calling it a PPSO, and it was really heated. There were lots and lots of points of view. So it's definitely a phrase of its time, and it kept the brand going on the British Computer Society courses on the ISEB courses on PPSO. There are a couple of courses there which pretty much have stood the test of time in terms of in terms of training people to support projects and programs well. But
I think there needs to be a call out to David Marsh, who initiated all of those, and his books.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. So and obviously you've been around PMOs for years, Chris. What do you think about International PMO Day, about us doing something like this, and why have one?
About time.
Yeah.
That's my overriding feeling, is about time. So PMO networking has happened in niches over the years, and actually kind of coming out into the bigger wide world and announcing ourselves, not just the UK contingent, but there's events going on today all over the world. There's a number that have already happened. There's still some yet to happen. So being able to not be part of the stuffy project management profession, and to get out and be enthusiastic and energetic and welcoming and open, and above all else, a lot of fun. That for me is what IPMO Day is all about.
Yeah, brilliant. So what do you in your hope then, because I know you obviously you're still working in that field and doing a very good job by all accounts, where would you like to see PMO going in the future?
I've got three thoughts on this really. Diversity of PMOs. I'll give an example. So I've worked in the same department in an organization, but with two different product line areas, and the two PMOs were totally different. So really recognizing that no two PMOs are the same, and that really we're built from the ground up on principles as opposed to recipes. So I think that will continue to grow, and I can see PMOs expanding into places that don't really have a P, but actually there's a lot of value in the thinking behind PMO stuff that will help businesses in other areas. Like we hear things about strategy management offices and business management offices, which are the same kind of thing really, but operating on different bits of organization and different constructs of organization. So that's the first one. I think PMO's here to stay, but not always with the P. The next one, so I'm going to be really unpopular here, and say that I think artificial intelligence in the PMO context will come and go. I know, isn't that controversial? And the reason that I'm saying that is actually the massive value of PMO people is being able to stitch stuff together that doesn't necessarily sit in a database or a knowledge base somewhere. So I think there'll be a lot of playing around, finding the things that artificial intelligence can help with, but also the PMO people are special. They're really good at making links, seeing systems of things, and I think it'll be a long time that before artificial intelligence will be able to knock us off the landscape.
That great phrase, boundary spanner, which always kind of sits with me. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a great role.
And the final one is really a hope. I don't know if I've got a prayer on this one, but maybe someone will finally come up with a decent PPM system.
Oh, now there's a challenge out to all the tools providers out there.
Yeah. Go on then. So what would you like to see in terms of a decent PPM tool? What should they be doing?
Oh, hitting the right level of data rather than the over granular or the oversimplified. That middle ground is where the action is, in my view. Having very, very granular resource plans down to this is what Fred's going to do in this 15 minutes. Sorry, those don't work. They don't help the portfolio management problem. And if you look at classic portfolio management, it's about managing resources. But also, if you look at it too high a level, you miss out the critical resources, you miss the bottlenecks. All of those things that when you have brilliant plans, you think they're brilliant, they get scuppered by the detail. So I think being able to manage into the detail, but not too far into it. And I guess the final thing is something that people actually want to use, because systems are no use if people don't want to use them. So you've got to make them compelling and deliver value to project managers, deliver value to finance communities, deliver value to the strategy and investment and portfolio management piece as well. And that's clearly a trick that's beyond the industry at the moment.
Yeah, brilliant.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thank you very much. And
can I just say that I'm hoping Chris is going to stick around for a long time in PMOs, because he provides some really useful insights and challenge to some of the things that we do.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to say thanks to Chris, because you've been brilliant for me over the years. Just just being able to bounce stuff around, which is what's great about PMO. There's just so much to it, and having a really good debate and argument and getting a piece of paper out and doing the diagrams and all of that, chats over beers and food, fantastic.
But I think that's the great thing about the International PMO, isn't it? It's not one particular niche or one particular perspective. Going back to kind of what you said about diversity, actually having all of that diversity, I think is really when you look at some of the things that are coming out International PMO Day, massive diversity. It's great.
So talking about diversity, there's more been going on. Look at that lovely team there at I think they're from Shared Business Services, SBS. They're having a bake-off, and they've invited everybody across the business to come and see them in their offices today. And look at that fella there on the left-hand side. Now this is intriguing. Now we've never seen the like before, to be fair. And what I wanted to do was hopefully try and share this amazing thing. Let me see if I can.
I've got a new number for you tonight, based on some work experience I've been doing lately, working in a PMO. Now, have a listen to this and see what you think. So you want to start a project, eh? Not without a business case. Sponsor wants delivery yesterday, not without a business case. You want to implement AI, you need to deliver but don't know why. Your sponsor says JFDI, not without a business case. You're going to put a new system in, but what are the benefits? It's got whizzy graphics, it's techie bling, but what about the benefits? As software goes, it's best in class. It'll move us from on-prem to SaaS. A feast of features, kiss my ass. What are the benefits? Your status report, we need a chat. Are you sure your green project's not red? You're overspending, that's a fact. Are you sure your green project's not red? Your schedule forecast don't hold water. You've got more risks than you really ought to. You've made no progress yet this quarter. Are you sure your green project's not red? Your scope is creeping, the baseline's blown. Is that project still worth doing? Morale is low, the sponsors are moan. Is that project still worth doing? Your launch is late, you're overspent. A path to green you must present. You get up and go up and went. Is that project still worth doing? You're throwing deliverables at BAU. Where's training, adoption and use? You haven't really thought it through. Where's training, adoption and use? Your schedule ends at go live. That looks strange. It looks like you've forgotten about change. Your critical path you must rearrange. Where's training, adoption and use? So you've had a taste of this Project Lark. Do you need some PMO help? Don't get this sketch. Google John Cooper Clark. Do you need some PMO help? Your delivery schedule's out of whack. You want your old life and operations back. You'd be better off becoming a lumberjack. You need some PMO help. Thank you very much. I have been the world's first and only PMO punk performance poet. Thank you very much. Good night. Safe journey home.
When you're talking about diversity in PMO, I think that just kind of that says it all. Yes. I think we should give kind of brownie points to anybody who plays that to their kind of customers.
Well,
it seems
at
at the front of their service catalogue. Yes, entry to the service catalogue. Watch this video first.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Ken, you're on. Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm here. I'm
Bang
here.
on there. That took you a while to come up with that, did it?
A little while, yes. It was one of those situations where I was stuck on a train, couldn't get out of London, and I had no Wi-Fi access, and it was an idea that had been rolling around in my head for a while. What would John Cooper Clark do if he was in the PMO? So I hope people understood the John Cooper Clark reference.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Very, very good.
Despite my accent, I have to say.
Well, I can't really comment, but
yeah.
So your challenge is now to do a Roger McGough.
Roger McGough. I'll have to look him up.
He's a Liverpudlian.
Oh yeah.
Oh right. I was thinking Craig Charles maybe.
Yeah, brilliant. No, well, it certainly resonates with a few people, but yeah, he shared the link.
I'm seeing that. Yeah, I've put it. I've put the link in to the full YouTube video in the chat.
And if you don't know Ken, if you're not connected to him, make sure you connect to him on LinkedIn and stuff, because
absolutely
there's more where that came from. So brilliant. We just thinking back to where we started 2013, we decided to go in a different direction, and that direction was that ridiculous name, PMO Flash Mob. And the reason why we went down that route is we wanted to have a bit of fun with it. I hate we're going to have more fun at work and stuff, but you know what, we knew that the PMO people enjoyed the chat bit, the getting to know each other and what you're up to, and there'd always been a nice bunch of people, and just thought, let's have a bit of fun with it, and that's exactly what we did. And it started 2013, and it would have carried on today if it had not been for that rather catastrophic global event,
which is over now.
Which is over now. But PMO Flash Mob was born out of just a desire to do something a little different. So it left APM, and it was you couldn't get more different. Basically, that's what we wanted to do, and get people together, understand what PMOs were struggling with, and we can look at best practice and all that kind of stuff, but we just wanted to hear it from the people that do the job, and let's try and
it was
work
focused
out
at the individuals, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was for those people. We were very conscious that at the time there was an awful lot of people who worked either on their own in very small PMOs across the place. There's back in 2013, even though P3O had kind of come out by then, there were still lots of people really struggling in terms of, well, what does a PMO really mean? What can I do? What should it be doing? And it was really, we've always often described it as a kind of a self-help group, really, for kind of people who work in and around PMOs.
Oh yeah, and that's a great place to take it on to the next one. So where did it start, Flash Mob? Well, it actually started initially with me and Ralph having a self-help group on the South Bank in London one night. He'd have been an horrendous time at work. We sat there, had a drink, and
a drink. That's unusual.
Yes, put the world to rights, and we just thought, you know what? This would be really good if you could get more PMO people to come and get together. Now, is he here?
He is. He's joined.
Is he here, Mr. Finchett? You're joining.
G'day.
Hello.
There he is.
Hello.
I've got a camera, Mr. Finchett.
Oh my God, you're not going to believe this.
Hey, there you go. So he's over in Australia.
Actually,
Deserted us.
In a car.
Pitch black. It's pitch black at night. Oh, I'm not joking. I'm not to the right from the room. It is dark.
Yeah, it looks it. So you're over in Australia. So you
my light on in my car.
See, that's a Mancunian accent, Ken. So obviously we were having that chat. Can you remember it on the South Bank? And we just thought we'd get it'd be great if you could get loads of PMO people together and to just, see what's what.
I do. And it was there was like I also remember when we were having the drink, there were like those deck chairs you get at the seaside.
Yes.
Do you remember? And once you'd had 2 or 3 drinks, you couldn't get out of the deck chairs. So I was like on the South Bank. But it was right.
A lot though, from there. We remember the first one we did on the back of a boat on the Thames. We together with PMO manifesto. That was good fun. Coming up with getting people together to talk around something. We were still doing it in pubs. The people of the getting together in the weird and wonderful parts of London, finding weird pubs.
You remember the night when we turned up and they had a comedy night booked straight after us or something? It was like a stand-up with a microphone, and we all jumped up and started using the microphone. Yeah. So there's some really weird places. The boat one always resonates with me, the first one, only because I think when we turned up, we didn't know if anybody was going to turn up, and then when they did, we didn't know what to talk about. We weren't prepared. It was just. You were looking at me and going to the bar. What were we going to talk about? But it just happened. It was all right, actually, eventually. Got going.
Even with its bizarre name, PMO Flash Mob, organisations did start to let us come into their businesses. Basically, we begged, borrowed and stealed and said, can you give us a room? We'll come and do some stuff, and started to grow up a little. But it was always about going back to the pub afterwards, where the real conversations happen, and that's still is the bit that we've obviously really
we're so looking forward to going back to kind of face-to-face. So I mean, we've got the conference this year, but hopefully we're going to go out and do some face-to-face events. We did one with the APM last week, and we had over 100 there, which was great. So hopefully we can get back in the swing of doing those kind of face-to-face events. They're relaxed and kind of chilled and
so I'm going to put her up on the spot now and just ask you, we're celebrating International PMO Day. What do you think about that?
Oh God, I've been thinking quite a bit about this over the last, and there's one side of me that gets frustrated because I think we're still talking about the same problems and issues we were talking about 10 years ago and even 20 years ago. I don't think it's moved on as much as I envisaged. I was probably either naive or too hopeful, where I thought if a few people got together, like with Flash Mob, like with what you guys have done with the competency framework, like what you see in from other PMO organizations around the world, I thought it would take a leap forward. But I feel like the conversations today are the same conversations we've had 10, 20 years ago. But that said, there's more of a network of people talking about the issues today, whereas back then you'd be on your own, or you'd only know 1 or 2 or 3 people talking about the issues. So I suppose glass half full, better network, better conversations happening of sharing the issues and the challenges and some of the solutions about how you deal with it. But I still feel like as an industry, we haven't took those massive leaps forward, if that's fair to say. I don't know. It's good to think, even Eileen being the expert of this one. What's your views, Eileen, on that one?
Well,
you think the
it's
industry
interesting because we're just doing a paper at the minute on PMO as a business function, and I think where we had in the past, we had a small number of group of people talking about the challenges. I think we've got a small group of people who are now pushing over that tipping point, and so I think there's a number of people who've made the leap, but the industry hasn't made the leap. I think the industry is kind of following, but I just don't think the industry there. So I think you're right. We're still talking about some of the same old problems, reporting and data, resource management, actually kind of getting of recognized in organizations. But I think to me, going back to your half full, there's lots more people having those conversations, not just because there's more people having the conversations, but actually because there's significantly more PMOs in organizations now. And I think, we're becoming much more kind of de facto in organizations. There's many more very few people ask now kind of, well, what is a PMO? It's kind of, well, what can your PMO do? Tends to be a better question that we're getting now. So I think there's just a lot more PMOs about, which has to be, you know, kind of down the path.
Definitely. Yeah, I'd agree with you. And actually, thinking glasses are full, I also feel that whereas PMO on, and I hate to use the word pecking order here, but there used to be 20 years ago, your PMO was your entry admin, you know, learning about project program management, and then you'd move up to project manager, maybe program manager, and so on. I think you're starting to see there's still some of that going on, but there's more of PMO that's operating at a higher level now as well. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So, and I think that's a positive thing. And what PMOs are trying to do is uplift the organizational capability to more successfully deliver projects and programs. Whereas in the past, it was more about, can I get the reporting done, and can you get me a few milestones on a PowerPoint slide?
Yes.
You know what I mean? There's a, yeah. So, but I do feel like as project and program management, you know, is it more successful now? I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think they have the same things. You know, they're still suffering the same old problems that they've had for the last 50 years in terms of delivery. So, you know, I think it's going to be I think we've got a job for a while yet.
Yes, no, absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Ralphie. Hopefully we'll get to sit on that deck chair on the South Bank one of these days soon.
Oh, we'll go down there and sit on his South Bank, even better.
Yeah,
you're invited to come down anytime you want. I'm sure I can just drive up to Bondi and just meet you guys up there whenever you want.
Right, excellent. Thank you very much.
Take care, guys.
Yeah, super. Thank you very much. And now this is an interesting one. Onto something different. We've seen a little video has appeared, and this is so amazing. You know, have a listen to this.
So I'm Sam Jewett. I'm the ICT Programme and Governance Lead here at Cantium.
I'm Elisa Rose, and I am the Resource and Finance Lead for PMO.
So PMO Day is it's an international day for PMO professionals, and it's around celebrating what you achieve as a function,
where you can showcase who PMO are and celebrate what PMO do, look at our wins, socialise, have a bit more of a team build.
Get to know their colleagues a little bit more, sharing of ideas, showcasing the achievements we've done, because project management is one of those things, like a lot of things in life, people don't celebrate what their successes have been, and we don't take that time out to kind of say, actually, we're a really good team here, and this is what we are doing, and we are delivering. In GCC this month, we've closed 5 projects. That's a big achievement for a fairly small team, which means there's income for Cantium. It's an opportunity to kind of get together and really recognise that we are a function, we are important to the organisation, and sort of support the growth of the organisation as well.
For us, PMO Day wasn't just another, it's just International PMO Day. It was a chance for everyone to get together, socialise, spend time, talk about the wins, talk about challenges, and come together as a team. And that's what's most important.
To celebrate the PMO Day at Cantium, we're bringing everybody into the office. We're going to have it a bit of a fun day, sort of less work focused. We're going to do some PMO focused games, if you like, just to kind of get people into the spirit and have some focus around some of our achievements. And Claire's going to talk to the team about what she thinks has happened in the last 6 months and sort of celebrate our successes, and really an opportunity for people to kind of get to know each other a little bit more and bring the team together a bit.
PMO Day as well, we're going to mould into how we like it at Cantium. So I've got some fun games that we're going to be playing. We're going to do a bit of a Jenga tournament, and again, just bringing people together and letting people know what PMO, or who PMO is, how we can work, how we can support each other, and just have a good old riot.
Brilliant.
Do you know, if we wanted International PMO to be anything, it's exactly that.
Exactly. And we didn't ask either. And,
No.
and I know they were very nervous because they've never done anything to camera like that. So brilliant. Well done. We'll be sharing that video a little bit wider as well. Another shout out this time to organisations that have multiple PMOs, but they don't even know that they're there.
Absolutely. The the number of times we kind of we talk to people and they say, I'm sure there's another PMO somewhere else in the organization. And if ever there was a day to go and find those people and go and introduce yourself, it's today, isn't it really? And you know, we often, when we talk about PMO models, as we do in various kind of guises, there's this view that we all need to report into some single body, and that was never the intention. So we can have multiple PMOs across the organisations. We don't need to be on a land grabbing exercise. Just go and make yourself known, share some of your challenges. We always used to use a phrase called steal with zeal. You know, if they're doing something useful that you can use, then take it and use it. And if, you know, they're doing something that you've done before, then share and just build your own internal community. There's so many large organizations now, we've got multiple PMOs, and even some of the smaller ones have got multiple ones where they kind of see themselves as very much the silos. So very much as a kind of a particular decision on International PMO Day. If you didn't have an excuse to go and see somebody in the other PMOs, today is a good excuse just to go and say hello.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, and so we carry on with our celebrations. As you know, from Flash Mob, it kind of all went do. Last one was the 27th of Feb 2020. We got together in a pub. No surprises there, but we were showing a themed evening. It was about PMO services, and that's when the world kind of changed, because by the 4th of April, we were all in Zoom and trying to work out what on earth was going on and what are we doing, and you know, it became a bit of a lifeline, I suppose, just to all of us trying to work out what's going on.
It was a slightly different type of self-help group then, wasn't it?
Yeah,
added a whole new dimension. Yeah,
we were teaching each other how to use Zoom and all that kind of malarkey. It in some ways it was fun.
Well, do you know what it did do? It was really interesting because it kind of grew the audience, didn't it? And grew the connections. Yeah. So I think we're all a lot more happy, you know, kind of doing things online now. Yeah. And I just think that opportunity to meet with lots of people from across the world, you know, again, back to the kind of International PMO Day, I suspect we've all now got contacts and people who we know and speak to on a regular basis that are not just within our immediate kind of physical circle, but on our people's soft network. Has grown enormously.
Yeah, and actually the pandemic, we can thank for making us get us backsides in gear and finish this project that had been hanging around. We're not hanging around, we've been doing it for 3 years ish, and it was, oh, we'll get there, and of course we did, because we had no other choice, because we were thinking we need to do something there, which kicked off the whole journey around obviously the role profiles that made that we could do the courses, and that's obviously, you know, where we are now. But if you look back to where we were February, just before we were locked down, we went into PMO's service catalogue. We had an evening all about it in the pub, and I do believe we've got Mr. Dixon. You there, Mr. Dixon?
I am here.
Hello. Hello, how are you?
For very rare circumstances, I'll put the video on.
So, celebrating International PMO Day, Stuart?
Yes, I think it's good to have such community. I think you're right. And if we did this even 5 years ago, I don't think it would have flown. I think we've now got a wider community, and just looking at the comments that are coming through the chat, it's amazing the number of different companies that we've got. And I also think one of the progresses I've seen is to move PMO out of an IT department, which quite a lot of the people I was in were in IT, and to see it actually coming into business environments, the chats I've had with people through the flash mobs, to see how wide it's getting. And it's not just, this is something that IT do, it's something that the business is doing, you know, echoing Chris's one for let's move it up to a business level and a strategic level. I think that's going to definitely offer some value.
Excellent.
So Stuart, so thinking, I mean, I've known you just as long as I've known Chris and Eileen, so you've been around the block a few times as well, haven't you? Which made you put together a PMO service catalogue. I mean that in a nicest sense of the word.
He was doing that on the train, not going around the block.
Yes,
He was
exactly. You
Yeah,
did.
yeah. I had a very nice 3 months in the middle of summer, sitting in my conservatory writing the service catalogue, and unfortunately I've done all of those roles. Some of them I liked, some of them I didn't like, and the important thing to do is not for every PMO to do every one of those services. It's really, again, it's the mix and match. No two PMOs are identical, and one of the drivers for me in writing it was the fact that people always told me what a PMO did, and I went, well, mine doesn't do that, or oh yeah, mine did do that, but it does it differently. So I wanted to actually sit down and not have somebody else tell me what I should be doing and what I shouldn't be doing, and put something together. And I wrote my first service catalogue in 2008. I did dig out the the PowerPoint presentation I did at PMO 6 event, and I used that quite successfully to help me out whenever I was doing recruiting or whenever I was doing training for people. So it wasn't just this is what we do, it's these are the people we need to do it, and this is the training they need, and there's a whole sort of ecosystem based around that. So I think there's strong links there with your PMO competency framework. So this is something I want to do. You've looked in the service catalogue, you can go across to the competency framework, you can see how can I judge myself against this, what can I then do in terms of training to improve myself, and so there's a whole ecosystem for me.
Yeah, and I think, we've been talking, a couple of conversations Indy and I have been having in the last week. The PMO service catalogue provides a great range of ways to kind of educate organizations about what a PMO actually can do. And absolutely, I think that goes back to the diversity point that Chris made earlier, Stuart, about it gives a list of what a PMO can do, yes, but not necessarily what a PMO should do, because what a PMO should do should be defined by each individual PMO based on what their organization actually needs. So I think it's interesting, isn't it, in terms of you start off with the kind of the big catalogue of potentially, these are the things you might want to think about, but actually getting to a personalised service catalogue, a true kind of tailoring to be what we need it to be.
Absolutely, and it's about understanding why you're delivering that service. So the one of the bits in the book says not only this is what it is, this is how to do it, which is what most sort of practical books do, but it's also saying why would anybody want this in the first place? And how will you know whether it's working? So it's those sort of whole ecosystem things, and yeah, nobody's going to do all those things in the book. They're just not. Please don't.
What's your predictions for where the PMO is going, Stuart?
I think it's, as I say, I think it's definitely coming out of IT. I see it more in areas of the business, and that's not necessarily the strategic ones, but I can see it going into more of sort of areas like finance, customer areas, what would typically be done as business areas, and I can see them working that and adding value. And the thing I've liked about what's happened over the past sort of 5 or 6 years is to see the different ranges. So as other people have said, I don't need to explain what a PMO is anymore, and having all those range of availability roles means that I might get another job at some point. And if I put forward my CV as something that says PMO, people aren't going to go, what's one of those and how does that help me?
Excellent. Hopefully now, when they go out, I mean, one of the things we talked about, their competency framework, hopefully now organisations have got a better idea of what they can ask for in terms of the kind of skills and competences, and actually got a better idea about what they want their PMOs to do.
Yeah, and I think it's going to lift it to a better level. I'm with Chris in terms of the AI, and because it's about connecting people. I heard Chris say that, and I thought, yeah, we've always been about connecting people, and I may not know the answer, but I know somebody who's got a mate, who's got a friend, who can get you in touch with somebody you need to do.
Yeah. Excellent.
Absolutely. So, and let's do it. Have a lovely rest of your International PMO Day, and I know you're off for a well-earned holiday. So have a lovely time while you're away too.
Yep.
Yeah, catch up with you soon. So another big shout out, and now this one is for people that are working in professional services or consulting. So they're offering PMO as a service, where they're actually supporting client-based projects as well. I think it was my background. I came from that place myself, and I think we're also conscious that some of the things that we do, House of PMO events that we put on, is sometimes perhaps too much of a focus on those, internal PMOs. So, today, so just a shout out to those guys as well, is that we've not forgotten you. We just need to start taking more care and doing things that
actually just being explicit, isn't it? So, and certainly we've started to try and kind of think through, there are some sort of differences going back to, kind of Chris's diversity. There are some sort of differences about the services you provide, how you provide those services when you're doing it for a client, and they're still part of the wider community, and there's lessons to be learned both ways.
Well, yeah, I mean, we just listened to Stuart talking about service catalogue, and these guys are doing PMO as a service. I think there's this
absolutely
there's stuff there. It's almost like you're an internal consulting organisation.
Absolutely, and they will have defined when they're delivering to their clients the services. Now, they may not necessarily have called it a service catalogue, but they'll definitely have kind of been through that thought process about what do we need to do to actually kind of support our clients, and from a commercial perspective, how that's funded.
Yes, so shout out to them.
Woo!
There you go, there's another streamer. So moving on, we talked briefly, obviously there's qualifications and stuff was a big deal and a big step forward. I know we've got a big leap forward to do, Ralph, I totally get it, but we're making a little step forward with the qualifications, which have gone down really well. I just wanted to, I think we've got Zoe on, and wonderful Zoe is, you've been teaching these courses, some of these courses, haven't you? Are you there?
There she
yeah,
is.
Here she is. Hello. How are you?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
My laptop's trying to die at the moment. Yeah, hi. Yes, I've been lucky enough to be training some of the courses, PMO manager. It's been fabulous, I have to say, because I'm a practicing PMO, to be able to spend time with people who really want to learn more about PMO and do the role is really motivating and inspiring. And every time I do the course, I think I've learned a little bit more. So it's a total win-win for me, and it's just brilliant sharing the PMO love it.
And it's funny, isn't it, when you're training, people assume, Zoe, that you know everything and you're going to kind of share all of your knowledge, but it's very much a two-way process, isn't it?
100%. And I remember one of the earlier courses I did, there was a bunch of guys from Wales River Authority, if I've got the name wrong, forgive me, but they actually have a centre of excellence as a unit, as a standalone. And I've not come across many of them, so it was really interesting to hear their experiences.
Okay. So what do you think about International PMO Day? You've been around PMOs for a number of years as well, so what do you think about the fact that today is existing?
Look, I'm smiling, it's fun. You know what, for me, when I started doing PMO, it was a bit of this is the place where bad PMO managers go to die. Or where, I want to be a PMO manager, but I want to be a project manager when I grow up. So that's where to start. I think that has so totally changed. I think that PMO is, I've put it in the notes, is absolutely a profession now. People want to become PMO. So what better way to celebrate and promote it by having a day that's dedicated to it? I think people do see PMO as a function, as a fundamental part of change.
Yeah, true. So what do you think about PMO future? What would you like to see in terms of where it might go to, or get better at?
What I'm seeing over the last few years in particular is lots of organisations wanting to run their own projects, and people kind of doing project management on the side. And that's where I think PMO has a growing and really important role, to make sure that we've got this consistency, and you can allow those people who haven't got the years of experience to be able to have a chance of delivering stuff successfully. So for me, PMO, it's that absolute community of practice. I see that side of it growing, people sharing, people seeing the PMO as the place to go for information, the PMO to get learning from. So I see it having an increasingly important status in organisations, almost, dare I say it, above those project managers, because not in hierarchy, but in terms of, you know, those are the guys who can bring it together. Those are the guys that can make sure that you get your confidence and your assurance that stuff's being delivered well. I think for all the terrible things that COVID brought us, I think it's also brought us the rise of the PMO. Lots of organisations, I think, when they had to stop doing work, kind of said, right, how do we know what we're doing? So we need to stop.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it was a bit of a drop the mic moment for PMO. So that's where I see it growing, really helping people make good strategic decisions, and the place to go to make sure they're doing things well.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Excellent.
Thank you very much. Well, you
Thanks,
have a
Zoe.
lovely rest of your day as well.
Right back at you, ladies. You guys make it happen. So it's brilliant. Make me smile.
Thank you. And of course, there's a big shout out to everybody, really. The good ship PMO has many different types, sizes, reporting lines, levels of maturity, you name it. There's you know, obviously they come in lots of different shapes and sizes, which is what makes it so interesting.
Well, I think the other thing is as well, it just continues to develop, and there's always kind of new things for us to do. One of the things we talk about is how PMOs tend to kind of be that innovation hub for new things that are coming out. So we talked a little bit about AI, but we've talked about kind of those tools, and typically it's the PMO that gets to play with all of those fun things to work out how organizations can use it in the project. So it's a great place, and you know, it covers everybody from kind of introverted to extroverted to creative to very much kind of process. So all of the different kind of personalities have got a place to play in the PMO.
Yeah, okay. So super. So we're almost at the end of our celebration. However, we have got the PMO Wheel of Joy. You know, we couldn't have a celebration without the PMO wheel. What we're doing is I'm actually going to pick on you first of all. I'm going to let you go first, but anybody else who's up for it, who we've not already spoken to today, you're more than welcome to have a go on our PMO Wheel of Joy.
Don't warn me about this.
Are you ready?
I am indeed.
Okay, here we go.
Well, I thought it was going on wisdom, so we'll see.
I've got to stop it, you see, so that's how high-tech it all is.
Oh, it is going to be wisdom.
Wisdom.
Right then, look at this.
Wisdom.
The technology. So this is my choice. I get. Do I have the choice? Right then. So what is the best advice I'd ever been given? I think I am. I don't think I was actually kind of given it specifically, but it was a lesson that I learned very. It had a huge impact on me. Was about just because you've got your PMO working and that's right for your organization today doesn't mean it's going to be right for your organization next week or next month or next year, and therefore it's really important that you continue to look a bit what we were talking about with Stuart. You keep looking at the services, the maturity of your organization, your customers, and work out what they need and continue to evolve the services to match your organization.
Very good. Now what you've done is scared everybody else off, because everybody else would be like, well, I can't, like, you know, do it as, because you do it for a living, all that stuff, don't you?
No, we're doing
excellent. Moon Circle, that's Annette, isn't it? I think. Okay, Annette, are you?
It is.
It is. Hold on a second then. And the Wheel of Joy goes round again. Smashing. Okay.
Oh.
Smashing it out of the park. What has your PMO achieved this year so far? It could be one of them. what has everyone in the team been really buzzing about? Or what are you most proud or happy about?
Do you know what? I am really proud to have, I'm going to say, an amazing team. I've got people who, since I've joined the House of PMO, I've got people who are listening to new ideas, taking on new opportunities. So things like one of my team has developed a new dashboard by learning BI. I've got a team member who has gone for promotion and has got promotion and is now taking on training new people. And I've got a brand new team member who has just come on board and has absolutely smashed resourcing. So I'm really proud of my team.
Brilliant.
Excellent.
Oh, I hope they're listening. And if not, we'll give you a shout out. But they should absolutely love that from you. That's wonderful. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So we've got Metro, is it Joe? First name Joe?
Yes, that's right. You've got the whole team here.
Yay!
Desperately trying to find the unmute button.
Hopefully we'll try and get a different one. But I don't, it's just like the wheel. We've got wisdom. Do you want to go for wisdom?
I'm not sure we're qualified for wisdom. Let's spin again.
Mates is here we go. Mates along the way. Who's been the biggest supporter for your PMO, or who is your time best spent with, or did you have a mentor or someone who's inspired you?
Well, I'll start because I made the team come off the camera chime in. But I mean, mates, I've press ganged my entire team to be here today, so they have no choice but to join in, except everybody wanted to do it and was really enjoying it. And I think within the team, the lovely thing about PMO is that we're always doing different things on different days. We've all got different skills and abilities and strengths. So we all support each other, and it's a very friendly community. There's no, that's not my job, I'm not doing that, I'm risk your finances sorts of conversations. So I think in every PMO I've worked in, we've been good mates as well. Definitely lots of pub time. But supporters of the PMO, we've had some absolutely fantastic executives who've really understood the value of what a PMO can bring, and generally tried to change our name to the Value Office. We fight that on an ongoing.
Give them a call out. Name names.
Oh, so I would definitely name Martin Boyle, who was our EPMO, our ExCo member here at Metro Bank until earlier this last year. Dana Cuff, absolutely brilliant coup that we had at Aldermore Bank, that really understood what a PMO brings and brought one in to add that value to the organisation and kind of championed us. But I'd open it up to the rest of the team as well. What do you reckon, guys, on mentors and advice? What's inspired you, apart from House of PMO, obviously? The framework.
You didn't have to do that.
But we didn't. We mean it too. We're terrible liars.
That's all right. I mean, you don't have to answer all three of them. It's just lovely. I mean, you can pick one of them to make it easy. But thank you, Joe. That's lovely. Anybody else want to have a?
Oh, you can do one.
Well, I don't need to do one because
nobody's full.
I just put the thing together. But I don't.
Go on. See if you can start with on one that you've not already done. See what your skill of the Wheel of Joy. And there we go. Smile. There you go.
What makes you smile about PMO? What makes you smile when you think about the future of your PMO? What makes you smile when you think about your career so far? What makes me smile about PMO? It's the thing that makes me most smile is the fact that when I see PMOs really and people obviously working within PMOs really sharing stuff and really wanting everybody to be all right and doing well, and you know what I mean, it's I love the attitude of we did a community event at Parliament UK the other week, and they've really got each of us back and stuff, and they have quite good good fun and
real community.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes me really smile about it, because that's what I wanted when I first started out, and that's why I went on that training course, and that's why I volunteered with the getting involved with Chris and Eileen and Stuart and Ken, and because it is really tough to do it on your own. And I think we still hear it now. And the thing that really makes me smile when you go to the conference or what, you know, to a flash mob or whatever, when people come in who have not been there before, and I think, God, it's making them smile because they realise that actually there's loads of other people out there that are exactly like me and what I'm going through and all of that kind of stuff. And we're, well, of course it is.
And I just get all weepy and emotional. Like
yes.
I did.
Yeah. So that's mine, and I think you know, we end on that high note of a smile, I think, and I hope all of you are going to, you know, enjoy the rest of your day with International PMO Day, and remember, you know, share it with us all, you know, hashtag INTL PMO Day, and you know, maybe it's a picture of a team, picture of a cake, picture of, you know, whatever. It'd be really nice for you to let us know what's going on and how you're celebrating, and we, you know, obviously looking forward to seeing stuff the rest of the day, but going forward, next one, Tuesday, the 7th of May 2024. It's always going to be the second Tuesday, and you know, we'll be having plans to do something else a bit different next time. Who knows? But you know, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, have a great have a great rest of your day, and yeah, take care for now.
Bye.
See you soon. Bye.